I understand the business of boxing at this point, and understand that to even begin negotiations at $2 million is an insult. And everybody in the sport of boxing knows that the welterweight division is the hottest division in boxing. We command a lot of money, we command a lot of attention, and this fight will do all of that and more. And for him to say that he's old fashioned and he doesn't think that $1 million is not chump change. It's not chump change to somebody else, but to Shawn Porter, it's chump change. So here's the thing: you offer Kell Brook $2 million because you knew that $2 million will get Kell Brook in the ring, and that $2 million was enough for him. It's not enough for Shawn Porter. However, you know the only way you can stay away from Shawn Porter and try to justify it is by saying $1 million is not chump change. I'm paraphrasing, but it's because you really don't want Terrence Crawford to have that fight, and you know that I'm gonna say no, and you're gonna tell people, well, $1 million is a whole lot of money. He's got a couple of losses, and he doesn't have any belts, and where's the risk and the reward? And it's all I can say everything that you're gonna say, Bob. I know everything that you're gonna say. I understand it. However, it's not acceptable. It doesn't make sense. And I can guarantee that if there's fans in the stands, we will fill up whatever stadium you want to take the fight to.
Remember when Errol Spence fought Danny Garcia? Did Shawn say he was the mandatory for Errol Spence and Crawford? Did he say he was the mandatory for both?
Yeah, yes, he did.
Now, you do know Errol Spence came out and said that he already fought his mandatory. Danny Garcia was actually his mandatory. So Shawn was not his mandatory. Yeah. What's your thoughts on that? Why did Shawn say he was Errol Spence mandatory when he wasn't? Because remember, Shawn said the fight he really want to make is Crawford because that's the one guy he haven't fought yet. But I remember on the same interview, he said, I'll fight Errol Spence next. Like if it was up to him, somewhere around the lines, he wanted Errol more the way he put it. He said he was Errol Spence mandatory when he wasn't. You think he was just misinformed?
Errol Spence Jr. is a complete fighter.
So obviously you fought him September 2019, didn't you? I know
buddy.
that you. I know that you said that you're the mandatory for that title.
Yeah.
You're expecting that fight. Are you expecting it as your next fight?
I'm expecting it as my next fight.
What if that's not to come until the summertime then?
Well, I mean, it's already been said. I'm the mandatory for the WBO. Amazing fight with Terrence Crawford, or the winner of this, Errol Spence Jr., who has the WBC and the IBF title.
Which do you prioritize?
I kind of prioritize. Terrence Crawford, for the simple fact that you have not seen me in the ring with Terrence. You've seen what happened with Errol Spence Jr. It's about coming back, fixing some wrongs, and beating him. But I think with Terrence Crawford, whole new story, a whole bunch more conversation that has not been had yet, and that's why I favor that one. However, the way he looked tonight, you let me know when you're ready to go.
I mean, I think so, me personally. And it's not because of Shawn Porter's attitude. It's because, honestly, I thought he was his mandatory as well because I've been doing my own research. And under the WBC ranking, Shawn Porter is currently ranked number 1 under Errol Spence, who's the WBC champion. So I think because of the fact that he's ranked number 1, he's under the assumption that he is the mandatory. However, right now, I think he's officially only the mandatory for Terrence Crawford, from what I've heard, because I haven't heard any news about him being the official mandatory for Errol Spence. But in let's say a couple of months or so, he will become the official mandatory. But as it stands right now, I don't think he is. Because Errol Spence just defeated Danny Garcia.
Yeah, you're right. He probably could have got kind of twisted when it came to that. But let me read the super chat real quick. Boxing should take notes from the UFC and make these guys fight each other. I hope, because it's getting watered down too much. We really have nothing to look forward to in the sport of boxing so far, unless Charlo fights Benavidez. Hopefully that comes to fruition. But to get back to Shawn Porter, obviously Bob Arum came out and said that he got $1 million plus an upside for Shawn. Shawn responded, man, that's disrespectful. Don't even talk to me about $1 million. I'm not $1 million fighter. On his own podcast, Shawn Porter said $2 million is a low blow, really. He said, when it comes to me, $2 million is a low blow, really. It got to be $2 million or better. That I got to disagree with. Let me tell you why. Because Errol Spence, obviously, from what people say, that he the biggest star. He sold more pay-per-view. He always sell out a lot of tickets. He's the biggest star at welterweight. He the cash cow. When he fought Errol Spence, Shawn Porter, that is, he fought Errol Spence when he had a title. They both had a title. It was a unification bout. Shawn got paid $2 million guaranteed plus an upside. So he can't request more than $2 million guaranteed against Terrence Crawford when he don't have a title right now. And he just came off a loss not too long ago. So $2 million guaranteed plus an upside is not a low blow. Like he said, I completely disagree with him when he said that. What's your thoughts on that comment?
I mean, I just think in regards to the 1 million comment, I wanted to say what you stated before. I mean, from the sources I read, I heard that Shawn Porter made around 1.2 million fighting the mandatory, but whether it's 800K, 1.2 million, regardless, it's around the same price he was offered by Bob Arum. But I think what he means by like it's a low blow to give me 2 million is that he feels as if he's worth more than Kell Brooks. He thinks because of the success he made with fighting Errol Spence, how big of a fight that was, as well as the fact that he is a top fighter at welterweight, that he should be getting paid more than Kell Brooks. Now, if you ask me, I think 2 million is in a reasonable point because of, like you said, he's not a champion anymore like he was when he fought Errol Spence. So being a mandatory, I think 2 million is reasonable. I don't know. I think he's just trying to see how far he could go with Bob Arum. But at the same time, Shawn Porter made a good point talking to Bob Arum when Bob Arum responded to Shawn Porter saying, well, 1 million isn't chump change where I'm from. And he kind of trying to put Shawn Porter in a bad light, making him seem as if he's asking for too much and everything. But come on now.
Let's make it clear.
We all know what Bob Arum's trying to do.
Let's make it clear. 1 million is a low blow. It don't matter if Shawn got paid $500K his last fight. 1 million is a low blow if he's going to fight Crawford. Crawford is pound for pound number one. Exactly. Crawford, one of the biggest names in boxing that draws a lot of numbers. So there's no doubt about it. 1 million is a low blow. But now the 2 million mark, that's 2 million with an upside. You see, Kell Brooks got 2 million flat because the fight was not on pay-per-view. But if Shawn fight Terrence Crawford, it's obviously going to be on pay-per-view. So it's 2 million plus an upside. So Shawn should walk away with, if the fight sale has projected to sell, which, listen, this fight is hot. I'm going to tell you right now, every time I talk about it, people want to see it, so on and so forth. So it's going to do numbers. I can promise you that. It's going to at least sell 250 to 300 from what I'm seeing, from the interest that is generating. This fight going to generate numbers. So if it sells from 250 to 300K, Shawn could walk away,
leverage.
Yeah, he could walk away with 5 million after it's all done with the total of pay-per-view, so on and so forth. He could walk away from, depending on what his percentage going to be, maybe even 6 if he receives a good percentage. But since he's the mandatory, I don't expect him to. Now, like I said before, it always could go down the purse bid. So Shawn, whatever Bob says should not discourage him from pursuing a Terrence Crawford fight. Because if you really want it, the time is now. Because once Terrence Crawford contract is up, he is not looking at Shawn. He's not looking to fight Shawn. He's looking to fight Errol Spence. Once his contract is up, he's going to go to PBC, in my opinion, and fight Errol Spence. He is not going to waste his time to fight Shawn or whoever. So that being said, Shawn has to capitalize on the moment right now that Terrence desperately need a big name on ESPN, and he should pursue the mandatory position, because if Bob does not pay him the money he wants, it's okay. Go to purse bid. Obviously, for the people that don't know, Bob Arum offered Terrence Crawford to Al Haymon. He told him, Al Haymon, you could have him for his next 2 fights. Give him 2 names and pay him. Al Haymon is like, nah, I ain't finna pay you and do your job for your fighter. Let him out of his contract if I'm gonna do that. I mean, think about it. If Al Haymon is gonna pay Crawford, might well pay his own fighters. It's a pandemic right now. Al Haymon, I'm pretty sure he's focused on paying his own fighters than paying Crawford. But the point is, if Porter really want the fight, he could go to purse bid and force a decent split. He will get to know how much is a budget for the fight, and he will get at least 25% of the money. So that's all I'm saying when it comes to that. But when it comes to Pacquiao, they said that he's negotiating with Crawford, according to Gervonta Tank Davis' trainer. Now, what's going on? Did Ryan really play the shit out of Pacquiao? Excuse my language, but did he really get him to get stripped out of his own WBC super belt? And now he about to fight Crawford beltless? Is that what really going on?
I mean,
Hold it. You're not that pretty. I'm a bad man. Wait. I shook up the world. I shook up the world.
I bear witness, there's only one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his final messenger. That's what I said, Larry, on the Bungle fight. Thanking you.
They call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans, anybody can get it.